Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be showing you how to knit the Trinity Stitch or the Bramble Stitch. A stitch so pretty they had to name it twice. It's a stitch with an amazing texture. It looks like little brambles indeed. It's not reversible, meaning it has a pretty side, this one, and an ugly side on the wrong side, though it has its own character. So, the stitch itself looks quite intricate. It has amazing 3D qualities, but the pattern itself is actually quite easy and easy to remember. It just involves a repeat of 4 rows, and you have to cast on a multiple of 4 stitches, and then how many side stitches or edge stitches that you want yourself. So let's get started. So here I've casted on 3 times 4 stitches plus one edge stitch on either side, because that's just what I preferred for this one. In this tutorial I'm using double pointed needles, but that is not necessary. I'm just using them right now for convenience, but you just use regular needles or whatever needles you want for this stitch. This is just me. So, first row, you're going to purl all the stitches. The first row is the right side row. The funny thing about this stitch, I find, compared to other stitches, is that most of the most of the stitches that you have to do in order to create the pattern is actually done on the wrong side of the pattern. So every time you do a right side row or an uneven row, you just purl all the stitches. Easy enough. And last. There we are. Row 2. This is on the wrong side, so the ugly side. You're just going to do your... This is just my side stitch, so don't pay any attention to that. So this is what you do. This is a repeat of 4 stitches. In the first stitch, you're going to insert your needle as if you're going to knit. You're going to knit 1 stitch, but you're not going to take this one off yet. You're going to bring your yarn in front, purl the same stitch. Still, do not slip this stitch off. You're now going to bring the yarn to the back between the needles and knit the same stitch again. Now you can slip it off. So you've knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, all in the same stitch. So from 1 stitch you've now created 3. Now to keep the amount of stitches the same, for the next 3 stitches, you're going to bring your yarn in front and you're going to purl them together. So all 3 of them, you're going to purl them together. And that's it. So 1 becomes 3 and 3 becomes 1. We're going to repeat that. So this stitch is 1 stitch. We're going to knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, all in the same stitch. So insert your needle, knit 1, keep this on your left needle, yarn in front, purl 1, yarn towards the back. Make sure that you switch your yarn to one side and the other between the needles, and not over the needles, between the needles. Knit the last stitch. There. So we've increased here, so we have to decrease here. Going to, with the yarn in front, purl 3 together, There we are. And one more time, going to knit one, purl one, knit one, all in the same stitch. So knit one, purl one, and knit one. And the last here, purl with your yarn in front, purl 3 together. And then just do whatever you want with your side stitch or edge stitch. So this is what you have right now. This is the wrong side, this is the right side. Starting to see some texture, but you need the full 4 rows to really get the full gravitas of the stitch. So we're now on row 3. Like I said, row 3, or every uneven rows on the right side, on the pretty side, you just purl every row on the right side. So we're just going to purl every stitch. So this was in the previous row, the purl 3, we're just going to purl this now. And then here, where you, from 1 stitch you created 3, you just purl each stitch. Just purl every single row. It's the first time I've come across a stitch where whatever you have to do to create the stitch or the texture is actually done on the back. Okay, now final row, row 4. Again, this is on the wrong side. We're going to do the same, but just switch it up. What I mean is, do your edge stitch however you want. Here, where previously we increased 1 stitch into 3, we're going to decrease these 3 into 1. So we're going to now purl 3 together. There we are. And here, where you previously decreased 3 stitches into 1, we're going to increase this one into 3. So you keep alternating that. So here we're going to again knit 1, purl 1, knit 1 into the same stitch. So we insert the needle, yarn over, pull it out, keep this on your left needle, yarn in front between the needles, insert your needle again as if to purl, wrap your yarn around, pull it out, keep this one on your left needle, yarn in back between the needles, and then knit the last stitch. So here you can often see if you forget which one do I have to do again, just look down. You can see a bit of a hole here because you knitted, well, you knit 1, purl 1, knit 1 in 1 stitch, and it kind of stretches it out, so it'll give you a little bit of a hole. If you see that underneath, you know you have to purl those 3 together. So purl 3, so it's a fun stitch where you don't constantly have to look at which row am I at. You just have to know, am I on the right side or the wrong side, and you just look down. So here, for instance, you can see like, oh, there's an obvious decrease, so I have to increase this one. So you don't really have to keep much track on which row you're on, which I find quite entertaining, especially for when I'm watching TV. And here you can see the hole underneath, so this has to be purled together. Here you see the decrease, so this has to be an increase with a knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, all in 1 stitch, and then your last edge stitch. And that's it really. And then now you can see, now with a full repeat, you can see the little brambles appearing. Isn't that adorable? There you have it. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you have any questions, definitely just ask them in the comments. If you have any suggestions for another tutorial, again, just drop them down in the comments. If this was helpful, please give me a little a like, maybe subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!